You can find me in St. Louis rolling on dubs. You are now running wild with the most underrated wrestling podcast in the world, WellsMania Podcast. I am your host, the Kyle Wells, aka WellsMania, and joining me is the world's greatest co-host, Stone Payne, aka Stone Payne Productions. Payton, this is episode 175 of WellsMania Podcast, streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube for all those visual watchers of a podcast. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And Payton, we are back from our trip to St. Louis, Missouri, aka the Lou. Are you still recovering like me, bro? My voice is still shot from Backlash.
I am still recovering. It has been an exhausting 3 or 4 days because my trip wasn't over. I had to then jump in the car and drive to Louisville on Monday. So I am running on fumes, but I am here and I am still ready to talk wrestling.
Dude, it has been a just busy past couple of months, man. Like I was telling Ashley the other day, I go, when Peyton and I get back from St. Louis, I'm going to take a break from going to PLEs. And I say that, and I never know. There might be a chance to go to Money in the Bank for all I know. But the reason I went to Backlash was one last time because I had to be there for John Cena versus Randy Orton. And shout out to the 5-foot giant Chris Engel for selling me his ticket because, brother, that was one hell of a match between John Cena and Randy Orton for the last time. And we'll dive more into that here momentarily. But Peyton, yeah, man, my voice is still recovering from yelling, not just at Backlash, dude, but our entire trip in St. Louis was an adventure. So
I feel like every time you and I go anywhere together, it just gets crazier and crazier, and each trip like ups the last as far as weirdness goes. And this one was no exception.
Yeah, we've got some stories, some that we might not tell. I don't know, man. There were some things that happened on this trip where it's like, do we tell that story or do we just let it be between you and I in St. Louis?
I don't know. I know one story we can tell.
Fire away.
And that is we met the man, the myth, the legend, the Slammer.
Oh my goodness. Slammer Mania was running wild. Oh, dude. Okay, so we're going to be going all over the place with this trip. We're not going to be doing it in chronological order. We're just going to go with whatever comes off the top of our Hoosier domes. And I'm glad you bring up Slammer. Slammer is a local independent wrestler based out of St. Louis, Missouri. And Peyton and I, we went to the Backlash Superstore.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of wrestling fans, as you would expect, waiting in line. And Carlito was doing a meet and greet at the Backlash Superstore. And you and I had no intentions on meeting Carlito. But while we were in line waiting to meet Carlito, all of a sudden, I see this dude walk by us. And he's wearing a black cutoff shirt. And it says Slammer on it, and or I think it said Slammer Mania. I can't remember exactly what it said, but it was black and white, kind of like NWO style. And the dude had Oakley sunglasses on. He had a headband on. He had blonde hair coming out of his headband, and he's jacked. And I'm like, I told Peyton, I go, that dude is a pro wrestler. He is a local pro wrestler. I guarantee it.
He was something.
And then we go through the line and we both meet Carlito. How was it meeting Carlito for you, Peyton? Real quick.
It was cool. Pun intended.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool.
Yeah. The Slammer was cool.
Yeah.
There's
So after
no apple spitting on Slammer.
no. And after we got done meeting Carlito, Peyton and I are walking around the Backlash Superstore, which was really small, by the way. It was
Yeah.
small. If y'all went to Fastlane here in Indianapolis, it was smaller than that.
Yeah, it was
So
tiny.
we're walking around the store, and all of a sudden I see Slammer. I see him. He's cutting a video. He's doing a TikTok video. And you know me, whenever there's a camera around, man, I'm gonna pop on screen. So I jump in Slammer's TikTok video, and he had no idea at first what the hell was going on, who the hell I was, but I saw his shirt and I know how to play the game, so to speak. So I put him over without even knowing who the hell he is. I just was like, Slammer Mania, WellsMania, running wild, doing my thing. And you can, if you go watch the video, you can see that brief hesitation, Peyton, on his face, like, who the hell is this guy? But then he played it off because he's a pro. And that video has gone viral on TikTok. And then afterwards, Peyton and I were talking to Slammer. And yeah, he's a local independent wrestler based out of St. Louis. And then, Peyton, who walked up? Who walked up to join us in that conversation?
Apparently, another wrestler called the Muddy Mauler.
The Muddy Mauler. That's right. The Muddy
Man,
Mauler.
they got some gimmicks over in the Lou, don't they?
They do, man.
The
But I love it.
Slammer, Muddy Mauler. They're living that 1995 WWE angle over there.
Dude, they were so cool. They were so cool to talk to. And they followed us on TikTok. We followed them back on TikTok. Peyton gave them Wrestle With This business cards. So keep your eyes wide open, because Slammer and Muddy Mauler might just be making their way to Indiana to wrestle with this. Could you imagine Stone Payne versus Slammer?
I can imagine it, and I don't think it would end very well for him, but I can imagine it.
He's got a badass atomic leg drop, dude.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
You better roll out of the way when you see him come crashing down, brother.
Speaking of running into people, let's just take a second to acknowledge the people who recognized us.
Acknowledge me.
Because it still is crazy to me when people come up to you and me and know who we are, and you can tell, and like they get excited by seeing us, because like I'm sure you think the same way. I'm humble in this sense, like in my mind, like I'm a nobody. You know what I mean? Like people shouldn't know who I am. I'm sure it's still awkward for you. You'll come up and say, "Oh my God, you're WellsMania." You probably like, "Hey, you know who I am?"
Yeah, it never gets old. That's for sure.
And but it's awesome. In particular, I want to give a shout out to Alex. We met Alex at the Superstore. Alex is one of my TikTok followers, young kid, and he came up during when I was on live, and he showed me his phone, and he was watching the live, and he took a picture with me and popped in on the live, and then later he made a TikTok video, which has since been deleted because for some reason TikTok decided to ban that particular account because TikTok's weird.
We got to get to the bottom of what happened there.
But he made a video saying that, out of everything he did that weekend, his absolute number one thing that happened to him was meeting me and you at the Superstore. So thank you, Alex, for coming up to me, and everybody else that decided to go out of their way and come up and say hi to us. Truly, it does mean a lot.
It does, man. It means everything. And especially a young wrestling fan like Alex, who is getting a major head start on us. Yeah. Like, could you imagine if we were his age doing this? It's insane how far technology has come. And I think that young wrestling fans these days have a massive opportunity to become wrestling content creators and to also become wrestling podcasters it's just really cool to see because it happened to me when I was at the WrestleMania 41 Superstore, similar to what you were doing at Backlash, at the Backlash Superstore. I had a kid come up to me and
Mhm.
he was watching me on my live, and then he gave me, I'm gonna give him a cheap plug here. He gave me this card right here, Rocco's Classic Wrestling. He's got his own YouTube show. Here is the QR code if you want to screen grab that. But it's Rocco's Classic Wrestling on YouTube. And then yeah, Alex comes up to you and he said that his favorite part of the trip was not meeting Carlito. It was
Mm.
meeting you, Stone Payne Productions. And
Yeah. So,
I was really happy for you, man, because
uh,
that's a good feeling right there.
yep, that was fun. And then, do we want to talk about it? Do we want to tell the story or no?
Is it too early in the podcast to tell this story? I mean, don't we have to get like 30 minutes in?
It's up to you. It's more of a you story than a me story. I was just kind of standing there.
Okay, so let's do it. Let's do it. It's WellsMania Podcast. If you listen to the show, these are the perks of the show is listening to these stories. Because Peyton and I, we've got a lot of wild stories. And Peyton said it earlier. Every single time that you and I go on these trips, it just one ups the last trip that you and I have gone on.
Yeah.
And this one right here takes the cake so far. So there we are. We are inside Enterprise Center.
Yeah.
Shout out to the dude on the golf cart that saved us from
Yes.
walking from our hotel all the way to the Enterprise Center,
Yes.
which you said was probably about a 15, 20-minute walk.
It's about 13 to 15 minutes, 13 minutes walk, but this guy made it like 4.
Yeah, we got there super fast. We got in the Enterprise Center really quick, and then we got to our seats faster than I would ever have expected. So,
which is then
that
where
was
I
nice.
decided to start live streaming, which leads us into this story. So go
Yeah.
ahead.
So there you are, you're live streaming, and Joseph, shout out to Joseph. In case you are listening or watching episode 175 of WellsMania Podcast, I got to get something off my chest, my dude. I got to get something off my chest. So Joseph gets in your live and he's in the
Yes.
comments and he's like, hey, I'm here too. Where are you guys sitting? I'd like to come meet you. And we told him where we were sitting. And then all of a sudden, Joseph and another guy, they start coming down the stairs. And it's just a really cool feeling when you meet people off of TikTok who are big fans of us. And so there we are. We shake his hand and we're just, shooting the shit with him, talking about how
picture,
took a picture. He posted it on his TikTok, which was really cool.
Yes.
And we're just standing there talking about how excited we are for Backlash. And I like to get people involved in the conversation. So if someone's like standing there and they're not really talking, I don't want them to feel left out.
Yeah.
So I didn't know who this guy was with Joseph. And shame on me for assuming because I thought it was his dad. And it was not. It was actually his husband. And so, Joseph, I just want to take this time to apologize for assuming that that was your dad with you. And congratulations on you and your partner being there at Backlash because it was one hell of a show to witness live. And I just wanted to take this time to apologize. That's that's a life lesson right there, Peyton, is never assume anyone's relationship because you never know.
Just from this point forward, I would never ask if someone's a mom or dad ever again.
Yeah.
Maybe take this as a valuable lesson. I got to be honest, though, your facial reaction is you turned as white as a ghost because I think you were just embarrassed. It is like
I wasn't necessarily embarrassed. I was just more I wasn't expecting him to say that was his husband because I legit thought it was his dad because there was an obvious age gap there. And like I said, this is what you get for assuming assuming things. Never assume anything. Okay. Assumptions will always lead to you being wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, Joseph was great. great spirit. I recovered nicely. I simply looked back at him and his partner and I said, well, no matter the relationship, it's great that you guys are here and let's have a fun night at Backlash. And we did.
Yeah,
We
it
had
was
a
a
we had
great
a great night.
it was a great time. It's just your reaction was hilarious. This just makes for a funny story.
Yeah, yeah. And we have a lot of funny stories to tell, but
I
that
mean,
one
you
right
you
there
almost
was
you
very
almost got in
surprising.
multiple fist fights with children.
Oh my God, dude. Okay, so yes, St. Louis is the hometown of the Viper, Randy
Yes.
Orton. And I am not shy, nor am I quiet. I was wearing the last real champion t-shirt on Friday, and then I bought this one, the St. Louis John Cena Farewell t-shirt at the Backlash Superstore, and I was wearing it all over. And yeah, man, so many people wanted to fight me. So many people were talking shit to me, people of all ages. So, one of the cool things about our hotel is it was super close to the arch, and we'll get to the arch
Yeah.
here in just a little bit. But there was an observation deck on the um the eighth floor that we were staying on, which was
Mhm.
also the floor that had the pool and the jacuzzis. So you and I, we went out on the observation deck and we both went on TikTok live and had a lot of people, talking Backlash and talking about St. Louis and whatnot. And as we're coming back in, we passed the jacuzzi and there's probably about maybe 4 or 5 uh kids, teenagers sitting in there. And all of a sudden, I hear a kid say, John Cena sucks. And I kept walking and I'm thinking, do I just leave? Because that's a kid. Do I turn around? What do I do here? He says it again, louder. John Cena sucks. So I look at Peyton and I'm like, okay, I'm about to go heel on this kid. So I turn around and I said, what you say, kid? And he goes, you heard me. John Cena sucks. And I'm like, John Cena doesn't suck. You know what sucks? Your boy Randy Orton is about to lose tomorrow night at Backlash, and that's gonna suck for you, kid. And so yeah, the kid was probably maybe, I don't know, 8 or 9, not maybe 10, if I had to guess. But I'm just like, this little shit's running his mouth to me in a jacuzzi. He's lucky he's in the jacuzzi, or else I'd hit him with an attitude adjustment in the pool, which I should have done. But I didn't know the kid well enough to do that. But yeah, and then this is actually really cool, Peyton, and I want to get your take on this because you're not much of a club guy. You're not much of a going out uh, to these kind of places guy, but you and I were exploring Friday night there in the Lou, and we came across this FanDuel Live in the Ballpark Village, I think is what it was called. That place was awesome. We walked in there and it was lit. There was a DJ, there were bars, restaurants, massive big screen TVs, and just a ton of people in there. Somebody was karaokeing upstairs. People were dancing all over the place. It was a really cool vibe to be in. What was your take on that FanDuel Live place?
I thought it was cool. I'm not a big partier. I don't go out. Probably repercussions of me working in the bar business for multiple years. It kind of turned me off to going out and doing it. Um, but I thought it was cool. I thought it was a vibe in there. Plenty of restaurants. They were playing some good music. Um, the place that we went to with the DJ was awesome.
Cardinals Nation.
Cardinals Nation. He was
Oh,
playing all the wrestling music.
yeah, I wasn't going to bring him up just yet, but yeah, we'll get to that here in just a second. But when we were going into FanDuel Live, what was the first thing that happened when we walked in there?
Oh yeah, you got in an argument with the security guard.
Well, that because he's mouthing off, he's saying, I shouldn't let you in here. John Cena's gonna lose, Randy Orton's gonna win, blah blah blah. So the second I stepped in the door, there's already somebody talking shit to me. And then we actually get into the place, and there's a table full of frat boys, and they're all doing the Randy Orton pose, and they're saying John Cena sucks and blah blah blah. And I'm like, good God, man,
You were in
can't es-
hostile territory.
I can't escape it. But here's the thing. I'm so used to it that I thrive in that environment because when I used to cosplay as John Cena, going to WrestleManias and Raws and SmackDowns and other live shows, people always were booing me. WrestleMania 23 in Detroit, the whole day I got booed and told to fuck off and, go home and leave and nobody wants you here. You suck. You can't wrestle. Everything that John Cena has been told, I got told. So that's why it's like, dude, Cena, I love you. Like, I can relate to you, man. I'm out here feeling the same thing that you're feeling, just in a fan's POV. But yeah, that place was pretty lit. I highly recommend if you're in St. Louis to check out that FanDuel Live. There's a lot to do in there if that's your scene. But yes, Payton brings up Cardinals Nation. So there was a DJ in there. Shout out to Cards Pregame. Follow him on Twitter at Cards Pregame. He might listen to this episode of WellsMania Podcast. He's in there. And the first thing I saw was a sign that says, if Cena loses, we riot, which I thought was incredible. Because finally, it's the first person in St. Louis who's on my side with John Cena. And yeah, man, he's playing all these entrance themes of WWE wrestlers. And, we were just shooting the shit with him. And he really liked us. And he told us to come back tomorrow for happy hour because he would be playing more entrance themes and doing a lot more fun things. So we did. You and I went back to Cardinals Nation. Shout out to the wings there. Those wings were so good. They were bourbon barbecue wings, and they were very tasty. What did you have? You had something spicy.
I had some like wrap or something that was way spicier than I anticipated it being.
Was it good though?
It was very good. It was very good.
One thing that Payton will point out on this trip is I ate a lot.
The amount of food intake you had was staggering to me.
Dude,
I don't know how you were hungry, but you ate a lot.
When I go on trips, I love to eat. And in my mind, I'm on vacation mode. So it's like, okay, these are cheat days. Take advantage of them because you're not back home. You're not on your workout regiment. So eat, brother, eat. And I did. And we'll talk more about eating because we went somewhere really tasty that was recommended to me. So we'll get to that here in just a little bit too. But yeah, man, Cards Pregame, that DJ was awesome. And he loved us, dude. He gave us multiple shout outs on the mic. The place started filling up and people loved us, dude. I know you were kind of sitting there in your own little world as I was entertaining literally
for
the
every
whole restaurant.
For every, extrovert friend, there has to be the introvert friend that kind of equals it out. If we'd have both been like you, we probably would have been kicked out of the building. So
I guess that's a fair point. But yeah, I did a couple of my impressions. The first one that I did was Triple H. Triple H's theme song was playing. So, of course, I grabbed some water and I went out on the patio and I spit the water up in the air and they all marked out for that. And the DJ was like, well, there goes my bit. He was a good spirit, though. I liked that dude a lot.
Yeah, he was good.
He was awesome.
He had my dry sense of humor. So that's
why
I liked him.
He did. He had a very dry sense of humor, but he was funny. Like, it worked really well. And then he had an impression contest. And I look at Payton and I'm like, I got to do my Howard Finkel impression. So I did. And I announced Randy Orton and John Cena one last time in my Howard Finkel impression. And it impressed the DJ. And everybody in there was like, whoa, that was really good. I know. I'm damn good when it comes to my impressions. So not to toot my own horn, but toot, toot, little tugboat style there for you. And then the last thing I did was Enzo Amore because he played the theme song to Enzo and Big Cass. And then he goes, can anybody come up here and recite what Enzo used to say on the mic? And I looked at Payton again and I was like, it's just calling for me, man. It's just calling for me. So, yeah, shout out to Joe, Cards Pregame. And he wants us to come back to St. Louis. And brother, we just might do that. And good luck with your future wrestling podcast. He kind of told us about that. And reach out to us, man. We'd love to have you on. Come run wild with Payton and I right here on WellsMania Podcast. Payton, let's talk about your fear of heights.
Yes, I do have a fear of heights.
I'm
Did
proud
you
of you.
know? Did you know I had a fear of heights before this trip?
Um, Only because you told me on the car ride to St. Louis.
Yeah.
But I just want to say that I'm proud of you, man. I'm
Yeah.
proud of you because you and we went up 630 feet
Yeah.
into the arch. And I'm not going to lie, bro. Getting up there was a little nerve wracking.
It was definitely heebie-jeebie inducing. The way up, like once I got up there, it wasn't that bad. But getting there was like, ooh, what the hell are we doing? Because like you go in this hallway and then like these little like pod doors open, almost like something out of like the movie Alien, like you're getting ready to go in like a like a like a
Spaceship.
like a space capsule.
Yeah.
And you get in this little crammed elevator thing where I don't know how more than 3 people could get in these things, but they have like 6 chairs in there. They're that tiny.
Yeah.
And then you start going up into the arch and you hear these cracks and these bangs and
It's rickety.
it's wobbling. And you're going up there, and the whole time you're going up, you're thinking like, I'm gonna fucking die right here. Like this thing, like this elevator is going to collapse. Like, and then no, but you end up making it up there. And once you're up there, the view's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I will
Yeah.
say what helps me though is I'm more afraid of like not enclosed. So like if I'm up there and it's enclosed, I'm a little bit better. So that eased it. But if it's like open and I can like look over a ledge, then it gets me a little bit more. But
Right.
Going up there, man, that was an experience.
Yeah, and you're not kidding, dude. It felt like we were going to space. Like
Yeah.
we were in those tiny ass pods. We had another guy with us. Thank God he was a little guy.
Yeah.
Because I took up 2 seats by myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, geez, if we had any more people in here, we would all be on top of each other. And well, who knows what the weight capacity is in one of those little pods.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting up there was cool, man. Seeing the view of downtown St. Louis, seeing Busch Stadium from a distance, and then on the other side of the arch, seeing the Mississippi River. It was really cool, man. I'm glad you and I did that. And like I said, I'm proud of you for overcoming your fear of heights.
Mm-hmm.
And we cut some TikTok content. So if you'd like to see some of those videos of Payton and I up in the arch, go to Stone Payne Productions on TikTok, go to WellsMania on TikTok, and share it, repost it, like it, comment on it. If you've ever been in the arch, let us know. Let us know your thoughts on what it was like for you up there.
I will say we spent twice as long trying to figure out where to take pictures on the bottom of the arch than actually being up in the arch. Yeah. I feel like we spent an hour and a half looking for the right locations to find and take photos, because you wanted to take one photo in particular, and then I wanted to take one photo in particular. Luckily, we both ended up getting what we wanted, I feel like, but it took a while.
It did, man, because I'm a little bit older than you. And of course, when I think of the arch and when I think of St. Louis, I think of rapper Nelly and his debut rap album, Country Grammar, which came out back when I was in middle school. So immediately I got that nostalgic vibe. And I love nostalgia. And Country Grammar is a banger to this day. I still listen to it when I'm in the gym or when I'm in my car. And of course, I had to do my pose of paying homage to Nelly. So yeah, finding there needs to be like monuments of where people stand and stuff, and like there needs to be articles on the internet like Nelly stood right here, facing this way and got the picture. You and I had to find out the hard way, and it worked out though for us. You did give me the idea of my middle-aged white guy dance video that I did
Yes.
to Nelly's Country Grammar. So that's on my TikTok. and you simply described it with one word, Payton. What's that one word?
The one word that can describe most middle-aged white guys, and that is cringe.
Yeah, it is cringe, but it's content, baby.
It is
And
content.
and who knows, I might be inspiring other middle-aged white guys to reminisce the glory days of rap music. Because if you're around my age, Nelly was a big deal growing up when we were in middle school. So shout out to Nelly, shout out to the Saint Lunatics, and shout out to the Arch. And you wanted to do your Randy Orton pose,
Yes.
inspired by Chris Van Vliet, friend of the WellsMania podcast. Where the hell that dude stood to take that picture is it unsolved wrestling mystery?
I don't
Couldn't
know.
find it.
I think my photo turned out better though. I
Yes.
think mine had a little more aura than CVV's.
Yeah, man, because I took the picture, and when I took it, there was kind of like a shadow. And I'm thinking, damn, that's a badass picture. And if I didn't know any better, it kind of looks like Randy Orton himself is posing there.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because our good friend Bree, LA Night Girl,
yeah.
She messaged me and she said, "Wait, is this not Randy Orton? Like I thought this was just Randy." I'm like, "No, it's me."
That's got to be pretty flattering. It's got to be
pretty
flattering that she thought you were Randy Orton.
Well, when it's from a distance and there's a shadow and you can't see my face, then yeah, you can't tell that I'm 6 inches shorter and not as jacked. And so, yeah, I mean, the shade had me very well hidden.
And speaking of LA Night Girl, last episode of WellsMania Podcast, thank you again, Bree, for running wild with us, because that was one of the most listened to and one of the most viewed episodes of WellsMania Podcast. So
she just got a tattoo, by the way. Did you see
dummy?
Yeah.
And speaking of catchphrases, if I got $1 for every single time on this trip that you said,
"Yeah, did I mean?"
There it is. I'd be rich. I'd be the new green shirt guy. I'd be sitting front row center at every PLE because, I kid you not, you said that catchphrase. I lost track, man. You said it a lot.
It's a good catchphrase, a good saying.
I mean, yeah. It's
catchy. Don't act like you didn't say it.
I did, actually. I did say it a lot too. Not as much as you though, but I did say it quite a bit, and people probably looked at me like, what the hell is he saying? I don't understand.
The key is to use it in appropriate moments.
Which I did not. I just screamed it. It's like, yeah, I mean, I was just yelling it left and right. Yeah. But yeah, man. See, little things like that make this trip memorable. And something that was very memorable on this trip, and we'll get to our thoughts being at Backlash, but I gotta shout out Pappy's Smokehouse, because when I went on TikTok live before the trip, me being the food guy that I am, I like to eat at places that are well known in whatever city I'm going to. So I had several people recommend Pappy's Smokehouse, and Peyton and I went there. We actually went there twice. It was so nice. We had to go there twice. We went Friday, and I got the pulled pork, the potato salad, and crinkle fries.
We got the same thing.
We did.
It was good.
It was good, but I didn't get what I wanted to get because for whatever reason, I just wasn't in the mood for ribs. So I told Peyton, I said, Sunday, before we head home, we are going back to Pappy's, and I am not leaving the Lou without trying the best ribs in America, because they have a sign in their restaurant that says best ribs in America as voted by the Food Network, Pappy's Smokehouse. And let me talk to you. The ribs are great. Those ribs were so good. It's like candy on a bone. They were meaty. They were juicy. They were saucy. They were everything that you want ribs to be and more. Good God, man. I'm craving them right now.
They were very good. I mean, I wasn't even hungry, and I ended up eating the full half slab. That's how good they were.
Yeah. Yeah, you
So
did. But shout out to Pappy Smokehouse. And if you ever want to sponsor WellsMania Podcast, we would love that. Can you send us food from St. Louis to Indiana? I don't know. I don't know.
that Uber Eats bill would be expensive.
That's a 3.5 hour drive. But dude, our car ride to and from it felt like we flew there. Like it was such a smooth car ride. But then again, you and I can literally talk 4 hours about anything and time
Mhm.
flies. Just like every episode of WellsMania Podcast, I always tell Payton, man, we're gonna keep this under an hour. And then all of a sudden it's like 2 hours later. 2 hours later. But no, we are a little over the halfway point here because we will keep this podcast episode 175 of WellsMania Podcast under an hour. Um, any other stories that you want to tell? Did we pretty much
No.
cover everything
I
before we get to backlash?
I think we just jump into the backlash card here.
Yeah, so there we are. Shout out to the Enterprise Center for hosting Backlash. And like I said, the whole reason why I wanted to go to Backlash was to witness one last time between John Cena and Randy Orton. But the Enterprise Center is a nice little arena. You know what I really loved about the Enterprise Center, Peyton?
That you could get a Frosty.
You're damn right. I love that they had a Wendy's Frosty truck inside the Enterprise Center. And Peyton goes, "You're really going to get a Frosty?" And I'm like, "You bet your ass I'm going to get a Frosty, man. If I ever have an opportunity to get a Frosty, I'm getting a Frosty. I don't care if it's freezing cold outside. I'm getting a damn Frosty because shout out to the ghost of Dave Thomas. I support Wendy's then, now, forever, together." And you got one too.
I did get one because I was like, well, if we're doing it, I might as well get one,
And
and it was good.
It was good. You can never go wrong with the Frosty. And then I also got a Gorilla Chili Cheese Dog.
Yeah, and at one point you looked at me and you were like, "I think I'm getting too old to do these live events. I just don't feel it." And I was thinking in my head, I'm like, "No, it's probably you're in a fucking food coma. That's probably what the problem is."
I do remember there was a point there where I was like, man, I feel exhausted. It's because I ate so much. And then I ate more when we got to the Enterprise Center. So,
and then you ate more after the Enterprise Center.
yes, shout out to WWE Human Encyclopedia Jared Giles and his mom. His mom went to the Backlash PLE to celebrate Mother's Day. So I thought that was really nice. And we ate at another restaurant that was recommended to me.
Great pizza.
Katie's pizza and pasta, I think is what it was called.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, that pizza was like, it was perfect.
It was very good.
Like it was crispy, had a little burntness to it. The pepperonis were crispy. The sauce was good. The cheese was good. That literally one of the best pizzas that I've ever had. So shout out to Katie's right across the street from Busch Stadium, home of the St. Louis Cardinals. Real quick though, you want to know what really chaps my ass, Peyton?
Pretzel bites?
Well, yeah. That's another story. Friday night, as we were going back to the hotel, I was hungry. Surprise,
Shocker.
surprise. I know. I looked over at this Annie Ann's and I go, dude, how good does a pretzel sound? And you go, I could eat a cinnamon pretzel. And I'm like, let's go. We go in and the girl says, sorry, we are not having full pretzels. We just have pretzel bites. And I told Peyton, I said, I don't like pretzel bites. I'm not a fan. I want a full on pretzel. I don't want pretzel bites because pretzel bites suck. Let's face it, they're not good. They're a waste of dough. Just make me a pretzel. That's all I want. Like, you have the dough. I'm literally watching a guy rolling dough. You mean to tell me that you couldn't make me a pretzel right then and there? So I got the pretzel bites with Peyton and I ate like 2 of them and then threw the rest away because pretzel bites suck. And I stand on that. I stand on my business, Peyton.
I mean, I thought they were good, but
but where was I? What was I saying before?
Something that chaps your ass is what you were going to say.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for getting me back on the tracks. So we're in St. Louis, okay? and we're walking around the ballpark. There's nothing, absolutely nothing about Mark McGwire. Nothing.
Mm.
And that chaps my ass. Mark McGwire used to be the home run king until Barry Bonds broke his home run record. And I can already hear you haters. Oh, he used steroids. He was guilty of using steroids. I don't care. I give no fucks. Because the summer of 98, who saved baseball? Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. If it wasn't for Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, baseball would have gone under and nobody would have cared about it. So here's my take. Honor Mark McGwire. He's a living legend. And Mark McGwire, if you're out there, if you're watching, if you stumble upon this, you are invited to come run wild on a future episode of WellsMania Podcast, Mark. I love you. I support you. And it's a shame that the city of St. Louis has erased your history. That chaps my ass. But anyways, Payton, we're at Backlash. The opening match, the opening contest was the fatal four-way for the United States title. Jacob Fatu defeated LA Knight, Damian Priest, and Drew McIntyre. This match was fire.
It was great. It was great. You know, it was the craziest part of it, the whole thing, though, was when Rhino showed up.
Damn. I had a feeling you were going to bring that up. Yeah, Payton and I are sitting there, and we're getting close to the go home there. And we're like, something's gonna happen, you know. And then Solo comes out, but he wasn't alone. He brought Rhino. Because I looked at Payton and I go, holy shit, it's Rhino.
The best part is you meant it too.
Yeah, because
you were legit.
Because I literally thought, now we were sitting in section 106. We're not super close, but we're not super high up either. We're kind of in the middle. And my eyes aren't as great as they used to be. It's called getting old, but I legit thought it was Rhino.
I mean, for a moment there, I believed it because, you know, my eyes aren't great either. And I'm kind of like looking and I can't see the guy's face. And I'm like, well, that's not Hikaleo. It's not Lance Onawai. I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Not Tongaloa.
It's not the infamous one, you know. And then you goes, oh my God, it's Rhino. And for a second I thought, well, holy shit, it is Rhino. And then they may finally show his face on the big screen. And I'm like, oh no, it's Jeff Cobb. Okay.
Yes, the arrival and the debut of Jeff Cobb, who was once in AEW and is now where he belongs in WWE. So Jeff Cobb, I apologize. I wasn't the only one, because after the show, when Payton and I were on Twitter, other people thought the same thing. They thought it was Rhino at first glance. But welcome to the WWE, Jeff Cobb, and still United States champion Jacob Fatu. Yaramin.
Yeah, that one broke LA Knight girl's heart. She said she's the only person in the world to get a tattoo of LA Knight for him to lose on the same day.
It's cursed.
But hey, I warned her last week. I told her it was going to happen. You know,
you hear that, Bree? I know you're watching. I know you're listening. Dummy. Yeah. I'm not calling you a dummy. I'm just saying that your tattoo cursed LA Knight. Now he's got to go redeem himself and win the Money in the Bank. The next match, the Women's Intercontinental title match, which was the only match on the card that I missed. Lyra Valkyria retained, beating Becky Lynch. I thought for sure that we were going to have a new women's IC champ. We did not.
It's a rare day when Hulk Hogan does the job.
Yes, you do call Becky Lynch Becky Hogan, and it did work for her, brother. She did do the job. Very entertaining match. I enjoyed it. 18 minutes was the time. 18 minutes and 45 seconds. That's a long, long time for the women. So
it's a hell of a match. It was. You were out getting a bacon hot dog or something during this moment.
I did. I was hungry, man. My stomach was rumbling, and I was like, I got a feeling this one's going to go a little long. And it did. Thank God. I come back and I watched Lyra retain.
But it was a great match. And honestly, it was a match that the women's IC title desperately needed.
I agree. And I'm really glad that both of these women were given this amount of time. And I love that the Intercontinental title is building that prestige. Congratulations, Lyra. You are one hell of an IC champion in the women's division. Speaking of Intercontinental titles, Dirty Dom. Dirty, Dirty Dom. The crowd. First of all, shout out to the St. Louis crowd. Because we were a part of that, we were hot all show long. That is one of the best crowds, Payton, that I have ever been in. So if you were there at Backlash, Barry Horowitz yourself, pat yourself on the back. Dirty Dom retains, defeating Penta.
Yes.
Poor Penta, man.
With the help of the greatest luchador that has ever lived, El Grande Americano.
Yeah, and I had a feeling that El Grande Americano was going to cost Penta this match, and that's exactly what happened. Dirty Dom, still your Intercontinental Champion. This next match might have surprised a lot of people, but not us, because you and I both know how good Pat McAfee is in that ring. Gunther defeated Pat McAfee. We called that, but there was one thing that we got wrong. No Goldberg.
No Goldberg. That actually shocked me a little bit. I really thought this match was going to lead to the Goldberg return. It did not. But regardless of that, the match was maybe the most fun match of the entire night. I mean, this thing was a roller coaster ride. And again, I said it last week on the podcast. I said this match might steal the show. And there is an argument to be made that it may have stolen the show because they put on a banger, and Pat McAfee deserves all the credit in the world for this.
Yeah, I mean, he took a beating from Gunther, which we both anticipated happening. And the fact that he just kept coming back for more was just showed you the fight in Pat McAfee. So shout out to Pat McAfee for getting in there and putting on a good match against Gunther. And we say it all the time, Gunther doesn't disappoint. That dude can literally have the best match with anybody. And when we meet anybody, who's next? Goldberg. Come on, man. We're all waiting for you. You're going to get nothing but love from the WellsMania podcast. So the inevitable return of Goldberg versus Gunther, I do feel like it is going to happen somewhere moving forward. But that takes us to the main event. The undisputed WWE champion John Cena beat Randy Orton to retain the title one last time. I was so glad, Payton, that you and I were there to witness this. The crowd singing Randy Orton's entrance music.
Epic.
It did, man. It gave me chills. Even though I'm a John Cena fan, I'm still a WWE fan, and I love when the crowd just gets so into it. And the St. Louis crowd did not disappoint. Like I said, all show long, from beginning to the end and everything in between. St. Louis, the show me state. After all, it's the show me state. Y'all put on and put out, and I loved it, and really loved witnessing John Cena beat Randy Orton one last time.
It was an epic main event. I said it, after the show went off the air on TikTok. I think that this match was better than the main event of WrestleMania. I think that Orton and Cena delivered in every way, shape, and form. I thought the cinema that was lacking in the WrestleMania main event was in abundance in this match. They told a great story. They hit all of their classic moves. It was a best of, but then they added some new things in there too. And man, did they put on one hell of a main event. And of course, it ended with about 15 RKOs, which popped the crowd.
RKO everybody.
And then R-Truth getting involved, which was great to see. I think a lot of people didn't like it, but I'm okay with it because I'm a fan of long-term storytelling. And I think that R-Truth does deserve an end to his storyline with John Cena, considering that has been such a large part of R-Truth's latter years of his career.
Yeah,
So I'm all for it. And I thought, man, I thought they tore the house down. I thought it was great.
they did, man. And I was there at WrestleMania 41 to witness John Cena beat Cody Rhodes to become the 17-time world champion. I enjoyed that match. I also enjoyed this match. I love them both. I love them. It's hard for me to pick one over the other just because I'm a massive John Cena fan, and witnessing John win number 17 live in person is tough to top that. But as far as a match goes, yeah, Randy and John, they put on one last time. They gave it their all. I couldn't have asked for a better match and result. Definitely glad that we made the 3.5 hour drive to witness one last time. Speaking of one last time, we are getting close here. So this will be the go home, Payton. By the way, speaking of R-Truth, friend of the WellsMania podcast, the one Mona, be sure to follow her, the one Mona on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We're going to get her on a future episode of WellsMania Podcast. John Cena was sitting there at the press conference. After he beat Randy Orton, he was showing some emotion, kind of battling some voices in his head, so to speak. And R-Truth and Mona had to go and just ruin that because Cena's sitting there and he's like, I got to do a better job of answering your guys' questions, so I'm opening it up. And then Mona asks the question, and then before John could even, answer it, R-Truth crashes the post-show press conference, and then John tells him that he crossed the line and not to say another word. And of course, R-Truth, man, he can't be quiet to save his life. He says another word, and he ate an attitude adjustment through the table at the post-show press conference. Thus, John Cena, any thoughts of him not being a heel anymore? Right out the window. He is still very much a heel, which, Payton, takes me to an idea that I got while we were watching John Cena versus Randy Orton. Real quick, let's book John Cena's opponents for the rest of his farewell tour. And speaking of R-Truth, I think you and I are both under the impression that on May 24th at Saturday night's main event in Tampa, John Cena versus R-Truth has to be the payoff
It has
to
to.
this, right?
It has to be the payoff. I mean, like, because it's just Saturday night's main event. You know what I mean? Like, this is a match that could easily be on Saturday night's main event. I feel like R-Truth deserves it. I feel like it's a match that needs to happen. You're not going to have R-Truth take up a major PLE spot like a Money in the Bank or a Clash in Paris or anything like that. So give him his moment on a C-level PLE like a Saturday night's main event. So yes, I think that Cena's next match will be against R-Truth May 24th in Tampa, Florida at Saturday night's main event.
I agree. Now, this one, I think you and I might differ. June 28th, Night of Champions in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I do have two opponents here for Cena. Okay. If Logan Paul does the unthinkable and he beats Jey Uso to become the new world heavyweight champion, then he will have to defend the title against Gunther. But I think he'll beat Gunther because of Jey Uso. I think Jey will get involved with that, thus keeping Jey and Gunther running wild. So I've got, this might be fantasy booking, but I've got John Cena versus Logan Paul in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Am I crazy for thinking that?
You're not. I will say you're jumping ahead a little bit because Money in the Bank technically comes before Night of Champions.
Oh, did I get my dates wrong?
Yes. Money in the Bank is June 7th. Night of Champions is June 28th, I believe. So Money in the Bank is first.
Oh, okay. So yeah. With that being
So go ahead and give
said,
it.
I got my dates mixed up here. Yes, Money in the Bank. It's got to be John Cena versus CM Punk.
Really?
Yeah, it's got to be, man. You're going to pay homage to their epic match that they had at Money in the Bank back in the day. I think you do it one more time because Cena, I mean, this is it. This is it. Cena might
Yeah.
not get another opportunity to
Well,
take on Punk for the rest of the year. So I think it happens here. You pay homage to their epic match that they had back at Money in the Bank. What was that, 2011?
it is.
That's the route that I'd go.
I'm
Cena versus Punk.
As much as I would love that to happen, I am going to disagree with you because I don't think there's any way we can get there in the short amount of time that we have to build to it. Because CM Punk next week, which is 2 weeks out, is going to be in a tag match at Saturday night's main event against Rollins and Braun Breaker. Well, that would only give us 2 weeks to build to Money in the Bank, which means you would have to get Punk on the other show for a 2-week build with John Cena. And I don't think that's enough time to do that. I don't think you can tell a credible story in that short amount of time and make it make sense. So I don't have Punk facing Cena at Money in the Bank, even though that would be an amazing callback. I am actually going to get, and she's going to be mad at me because I know she wants him to win Money in the Bank. I've got LA Knight versus John Cena at Money in the Bank.
Well, see, I've got LA Knight winning Money in the Bank.
I don't.
Who do you have winning Money in the Bank? I know it's still early and our predictions could change as we get closer, but I've got LA Knight winning Money in the Bank, which very well could lead to LA Knight cashing in LA.
Yeah.
But he's going to lose because John Cena is not dropping the title.
It could. I don't have LA Knight winning Money in the Bank. I do have a couple other names, but I'm not going to say who I think is going to win. We'll save that for a later podcast. But I got LA versus John Cena happening in Los Angeles.
Okay. I mean, I'm not opposed to it.
Because I think a heel is going to win the Money in the Bank. So
then that takes us to...
Then that would take us to Night of Champions.
Night of Champions. Did I get the date right, though? It is June 28th.
I believe it is, yes.
So...
See, this one's complicated because we don't know if Cena is working this PLE or not. That date has not been confirmed yet for him. So...
He may not even... He might not. But it's Night of Champions.
It is, but he may not even be working this show. So it's hard to book for a show if we don't know if he's confirmed for it or not.
I just thought of something really crazier than Logan Paul beating Jey Uso. Hypothetically speaking, if Jey Uso does retain and beats Logan Paul at Saturday night's main event, the winner of that match has to face Gunther. Well, Gunther could get revenge and beat Jey Uso to become the new world heavyweight champion. And if we got John Cena versus Gunther in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, that might be a banger of a match too. But even crazier is if you put both titles on the line and then John goes and wins the world heavyweight championship.
Okay, now you're just fantasy booking.
He's trying to ruin wrestling. So if John starts winning all these titles on his way out, I think people would get pissed that John's winning all the belts. That's just fantasy booking.
Let's keep a level head here. I think like Logan Paul, Gunther, those are fun matches, but I don't think you got to be careful doing a heel versus John Cena because people are going to want baby faces to face John Cena during this heel run. So if he does work Night of Champions, I'm going to throw out a name that maybe most people are not assuming would get a match against John Cena. And I think for a one-off, it would work. I'm going to say Damian Priest.
Okay. I'm cool with that.
Former world champion, young up and comer, not well in the sense of to the audience, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and going up against a guy of John Cena's magnitude.
Yeah, and for a one-off in Saudi Arabia, I think giving John a few one-off opponents like R-Truth and then LA Knight at Money in the Bank and then Damian Priest at Night of Champions to give these guys that Cena rub on this run before we get back into like major stories, I think works. So I'm gonna throw Damian Priest out there for Night of Champions.
I'm not opposed to it. I'd love to see John Cena literally versus everybody. We have hit the 1 hour mark, but guess what? This is WellsMania Podcast. This is our show. We can do whatever we want. We can go as long as we want. So we're going over the 1 hour mark. SummerSlam. It's in New Jersey. It's the first ever 2-night SummerSlam. And I was telling you this while we were in St. Louis. I have a very rare opportunity to do something that I have never done before in my life, and that is possibly attend the big 4 WWE PLEs in the same year. I was there at the Royal Rumble right here in Indianapolis. I was out at WrestleMania 41 in Vegas. I'm not opposed to going to New Jersey. It could be an early birthday present. So if you want to Venmo at the Kyle Wells, send me some early birthday money. I will start saving that money up to go to New Jersey. As a matter of fact, everything that I make on my TikTok lives, all the merch that I sell on brainbustertees.com. I know you're staring at this WellsMania Podcast hat. You can get it at brainbustertees.com. All that money is going to my SummerSlam fund, Payton. And I've got John Cena versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam because John Cena lost to Roman Reigns at SummerSlam years ago. Well, it's about damn time that Cena is on his revenge tour and he's beating everybody, righting his wrongs. He's the last real champion and going up against arguably one of the greatest champions in modern day wrestling, Roman Reigns. John Cena beating Roman Reigns. That is a SummerSlam main event right there, Payton.
I have the main event of SummerSlam being a rematch with Cody Rhodes. I think by then Cody will be back. I think we will get Chapter 2 with Cody in SummerSlam in New Jersey for the main event of night 2. And spoiler alert, long-term booking here. I think John beats Cody again. I don't think Cody wins the title back at SummerSlam. I think that's what they'll want you to think. I think we're going to get a trilogy out of these two. SummerSlam will be Chapter 2, and I don't think Cody will win the title back, but I got Cody Cena SummerSlam.
John Cena versus Cody Rhodes definitely has a SummerSlam vibe to it. Like I said, I'm not opposed to it. Anything you throw out there, I'm not really going to disagree with you, even though you might have different opponents for John. I'm kind of curious to see how you're booking this along the way. We have not agreed on anything since Saturday night's main event. So let's see if we can change that. Clash in Paris, France, August 31st. John Cena versus AJ Styles.
I disagree with you again. In fact, this is one of those, I don't think that we're going to get a title match here. I think we're going to get a tag team match. It has been long rumored. It has pretty much been confirmed behind the scenes that we're at some point going to get something like this. I am predicting the main event of Clash in Paris being John Cena and Travis Scott versus Cody Rhodes and Bad Bunny in a tag team match.
Whoa. Wow.
Yes.
I was not expecting you to say that.
Yes. That is, we're getting it at some point. We know Travis is training right now.
He is. He's training with Booker T.
And
can you dig it, sucker?
There will be some sort of connection with him and Cena in a tag match. So I think Cody will lose at SummerSlam, which will then lead to a tag match at Clash in Paris just a few weeks later, where Cena and Travis will team up and Cody will need backup. And who's another famous pop artist that can wrestle? Bad Bunny.
I'm not opposed to it. I mean, Bad Bunny is a badass. He proved that he does belong inside the squared circle. As far as Travis Scott goes, that remains to be seen. He's got to learn that I know wrestling is real. It's what was on his t-shirt, but bro, you can't be going around rupturing people's eardrums. Cody's got a receipt coming to Travis Scott whenever they do cross paths, possibly here in Paris, France. How about October 11th, Crown Jewel in Perth, Australia?
Yes.
Um,
Now you got to remember this one. If they continue the trend of last year's Crown Jewel, it will be a champion versus champion match to determine who will the Crown Jewel champion will be.
Yeah. Okay. So at this point, because I've got John Cena versus Seth Rollins, I could see Seth Rollins potentially being the world heavyweight champion at this point. I could potentially see that. But that's the match that I have in Perth, Australia at Crown Jewel is John Cena versus Seth Rollins.
We disagree again.
Which shocker, which also could give us possibly John Cena versus Braun Breaker somewhere, maybe like on a Raw or somewhere.
Possibly. I have Jay as still as world champion at this point. I have John Cena versus Jey Uso here. Because you need the biggest baby faces you can to combat a heel John Cena. And Jey Uso is probably one of the biggest baby faces in the company. And I feel like, especially after what happened at the Royal Rumble where Jey bested Cena, it would almost be a story left untold if we didn't get a match between the two. So I got Cena Jey at Crown Jewel.
Okay. I can definitely get on board with that. Speaking of Jey Uso, going back to Night of Champions, I can also see John Cena versus Jey Uso possibly taking place at Night of Champions. That is, if Jey retains against Logan Paul and retains against Gunther. They could do John versus Jey and do what you said, do the Royal Rumble payoff there. Or they could wait till Crown Jewel. I can see it happening at either one of those shows. November 29th, Survivor Series out in San Diego. And yes, Payton, I do plan on going out to California to attend Survivor Series. I've never been to California. I would love to get out there. And thus, if I do go to SummerSlam in New Jersey, and then I do go to Survivor Series in San Diego, I will have completed the big four in the same year. So I'm motivated. I'm determined. However, I'm not going to like what's going to happen. I'm not. Because I've got something really crazy. You can call me fantasy booking, but I call it there's a reason behind this. John Cena versus Cody Rhodes at Survivor Series. And Cody Rhodes beats John Cena to reclaim the undisputed WWE title. And Payton, I'm about to give you goosebumps, brother, because this will tie in to John Cena's last match at Saturday night's main event in December. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Are you ready? Because this is good. This is good. So John and Cody are going to put on a banger at Survivor Series. Cody's going to get his WrestleMania revenge and beat John to reclaim the undisputed WWE title. Okay. After the match, while Cody's, recovering and John's recovering, there's going to be a moment there where Cody has the belt and Cena's going to be standing there staring at Cody with the title. And Cody is like, Cody's prepared, man, because he's tired of Cena, low blowing him and attacking him and whatnot. But no, John is going to embrace Cody Rhodes here at Survivor Series. It is going to be the passing of the torch moment. And it's going to be a feel-good moment, man. It's going to feel so damn good seeing John and Cody finally, being on the same page and embracing one another. And then all of a sudden, if you smell what The Rock is cooking, the final boss shows up and he comes down and he's like, no, 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 John, no, no, no. What the hell? What the hell are you doing? He gets in the ring and he's telling, John, and you sold your soul to me and blah, blah, blah. And they get into it, which sets up John Cena versus The Rock three times in a lifetime in John Cena's home state of Massachusetts. In John Cena's last match, we get the payoff of John selling his soul to The Rock. John Cena versus The Rock. That is a money maker match. And John is going to beat The Rock in his final match, beating the final boss in what has been an incredible 2025. That moment of John Cena beating The Rock in his last match, thus riding off into the sunset as the greatest of all time. Dude, it's giving me goosebumps just thinking about that. And I want to be there. I got to close out the year strong. So I do plan on going to Saturday night's main event in December.
I appreciate the grandeur of what you're trying to give us, but I don't think that is what is going to happen.
Oh man, I know I said I might be fantasy booking there, but dude, I can legit see that happening.
I don't think The Rock is going to come back for a match with John Cena. I think there are only two matches that The Rock is going to come back for. One of them is against Cody Rhodes. The other one is against Roman Reigns. Maybe The Rock would agree to some sort of tag team match. Maybe. But I actually have John Cena's match with CM Punk happening at Survivor Series.
Okay, that's where the Punk Cena match is going down in your eyes.
That is where I got that going down in my eyes is at Survivor Series. And because Survivor Series has been a very big part of CM Punk's story since coming back to the WWE.
True. It's where he returned.
So you could play into that. And then we go into December where I don't believe for a second John Cena's final match is going to take place on a Saturday night's main event. I just don't see that happening. I firmly believe there's going to be some other pay-per-view or PLE. I know that there's been a PLE rumored called Ruthless Aggression.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
It would just be kind of weird to me. Like, why not just have Cena's last match be in a stadium at Survivor Series? You know what I mean? Why you're going to do it on a Saturday night's main event on NBC? That just seems a little odd to me. So I feel like they're going to swerve us and there's going to be some other event. And that event is where I think we get the final act in the trilogy between Cody Rhodes and John Cena. I think the countdown clock literally goes all the way to one date left where John Cena's like, all I've got to do is do what I've done twice now, and that's beat Cody, and I ruin wrestling forever, and I walk off into the sunset. Make it literally go to this is it. All John's got to do is survive one more night, and he ruins wrestling, and he takes the title away forever. That ups the stakes for Cody. It ups the storyline. And there is where I think you can tie everything in, and you can have The Rock show up. You can have Travis Scott show up. You can do all of this stuff. You can finally have John Cena turn on The Rock and be like, you know what? No, this is not me, and, John lays out The Rock with an AA, and then that's when The Rock can leave the ring with a disgusted look on his face, like, this is not over between me and Cody type thing. like this plan didn't work out, but the story's not over yet. So I'm going to say Cody is John's last opponent, and John holds that title literally up until his final match.
Realistically speaking, I can definitely see John's final opponent being Cody Rhodes for the passing of the torch moment. I think from a fantasy standpoint, I just want to see John Cena versus The Rock one final time. But you're probably right, Payton. It's probably going to be John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, and they're going to embrace. There's going to be the passing of the torch moment, and then The Rock's going to come out, kind of like what I said at Survivor Series, but it could happen in the final match for John. But one way or the other, Cena's laying out The Rock.
Now,
Cena's laying out The Rock at some point in 2025. That is happening.
I agree. Now, you could, if you wanted to change it, you could have Cody win the title at Survivor Series, and then the final match of John Cena be a tag team match where like him and The Rock team up to face Cody and like Roman or something. And then that's where John turns on The Rock. And then that ends up kind of being the launching point for whoever The Rock is going to face at WrestleMania in New Orleans.
Dude, you just gave me a great idea. I'm going to throw it to you real quick.
All right.
Going off of what you just said, The Rock and John Cena team up versus Cody and Roman in December.
Yes.
John and Cody win, so they both stand tall.
You mean Cody and Roman win?
I'm sorry. Cody and Roman win.
Yes.
And then that has the tension between John and The Rock.
Cody pins Cena again. And then after the match, that's where The Rock is pissed. Like, you lost this.
And then John turns on The Rock. And then we get Roman spearing The Rock. And then Cody hits the crossroads on The Rock. And then the big three of John Cena, Cody Rhodes, and Roman Reigns stand tall to close out 2025, thus ending John Cena's farewell tour, thus opening the door for what we could potentially get at WrestleMania 42. Night one, give me The Rock versus John, or give me The Rock versus Cody Rhodes. And night two, give me The Rock versus Roman Reigns.
Do them both. Both nights.
Give us what we both want, what we both need. This could be the end of The Rock, because there are two matches that The Rock needs. And then he can literally go back to Hollywood and never come back and wrestle in WWE ever again. The Rock needs to wrestle Cody, and he needs to wrestle Roman Reigns.
Yes.
And both of those matches could happen next year down in NOLA in New Orleans, Louisiana.
So
at WrestleMania 42.
I guess the way we book it is you have The Rock beat Cody on night one to become the undisputed champion, and then he drops the title to Roman on night two.
Yeah.
I think that's,
I would love to be there. I might go to WrestleMania 42. Who knows? I'm gonna go into as many PLEs kick as I can. Especially this year.
There's a lot of stuff that could definitely happen. And I want to say, I don't think the story with The Rock and Cena is over. It's not over yet. You can't just have what you did at Elimination Chamber be the last time we ever see that duo together. There has to be more to that story.
Yeah.
So now I don't think you're going to get it until later in the year, but I do think that there will be a closing to that story.
I agree. At some point, we will get John turning on The Rock, and thus no longer being a heel. He will go back to being the babyface John Cena, and he'll be loved. I do think that the fans are smart enough that when John does turn back to being a face, I do feel like they will embrace him for the rest of his time in 2025.
Oh, they will.
And if you don't, you're an idiot.
Well,
you are a jabroni. If you do not embrace John Cena when he turns back to being a face, you don't get it. You don't understand how this works.
They'll embrace
I'm looking right into the camera, and I'm looking right at you. Don't be a jabroni.
They'll they'll embrace him because it's against The Rock. And The Rock, whether people want to admit it or not, the final boss is the best heel in the industry because he draws heat. Whether it's real heat, whether it's kayfabe heat, whether it's kayfabe heat that you actually believe is real heat, the man knows how to draw attention to himself, and that moment will get the people to cheer John Cena again.
I love it. I love it. And speaking of heat, real quick, the next show is Saturday night's main event down in Tampa. And I really hope that Hulk Hogan will be there at Saturday night's main event, Payton. You want to talk about heat? I am sick and damn tired of people hating on Hulk Hogan. I am sick and damn tired of people not being able to separate reality from pro wrestling. Without Hulk Hogan, there would be no mainstream pro wrestling. Pro wrestling would not be what it is today if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan. And hell, I'll go one step further. Vince McMahon. And those two guys might be two of the most hated guys in this industry. But you've got to separate reality from pro wrestling. A lot of people out there can't do it. And as many people that hate on Hulk Hogan, it just blows my mind how dumb you truly are. Because I saw something on Twitter, and I'm sure you saw it too. Erase one person from wrestling history. And it had a smorgasbord of some of the all-time greats. And I was just curious. I clicked on, I was like, okay, let's see who they're putting. Everybody was putting Hulk Hogan. You're all dumb. You are all dumb. If you erase Hulk Hogan from history, this isn't going on right now.
There is no wrestling.
There is no wrestling. And you need to do a better job. You need to do a better job of separating wrestling and reality, because you can hate Terry Bollea and you can hate him in his real life. You can hate his politics. You can hate the comments that he's made. But as far as Hulk Hogan goes, the pro wrestler, you're an idiot if you hate Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
I'm saying, I'm looking at right in the camera. I'm sick and damn tired of the Hulk Hogan slander and the Hulk Hogan hate.
Because they don't really know why they're doing it. Like, they have their ideas of why they're doing it, but it's ridiculous. And the reason I'm going to say it's ridiculous and it's fake and phony is because I have had legitimate conversations where people will tell me, oh, F Hulk Hogan, and they'll give all the reasons, and they'll say he needs to be erased from history. And then, just out of curiosity, I'll flip the conversation on them, and I will go, okay, well, what is your opinion on Chris Benoit? Do you think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? And they'll go, oh, yeah, absolutely. Chris Benoit is one of the greatest in-ring workers of all time, and people should separate what he did in real life with what he did in the ring. And then I'll look right at them and I'll go, then why the hell can't you do that with Hulk Hogan?
Preach, brother.
Because what Chris Benoit did in real life is literally the most evil thing a human being can do on this planet.
Yeah.
And if you're going to sit there and tell me that you can separate that, literally the most heinous act a living human can do on planet Earth, from his in-ring career, then you should be able to separate the life of Terry Bollea and Hulk Hogan, the immortal one, the in-ring pro wrestler.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. But that just goes to show you how dumb those Hulk Hogan haters are. You're a moron if you're going to sit there and say that, oh, Chris Benoit should be in the Hall of Fame. We should erase Hulk Hogan from pro wrestling history. You're an idiot. You're a dumbass. And I will go on record saying that. And I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to say it and to speak my truth, because if you can't separate pro wrestling from reality, then you have no business voicing your idiotic, dumbass comments. And they're not opinions. They're just dumb comments. They're dumb
Mhm.
takes. And I'm ending this episode on a hot streak. People love when I rant. They love when I go off, but I love Hulk Hogan. Hulkamania running wild. What you gonna do, brother? Because if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, we would not be doing this today. Wrestling, I'm kind of terrified to think what wrestling would be today had it not gone mainstream like it did.
Yeah. I don't know. We'd probably still be we'd either still be in the territory days or wrestling would have died off and we wouldn't be talking about it.
Yeah, this would be like I don't know, some pickleball podcast or something. Nothing against pickleball, but you get my point. All right, Payton. I think we should calm it down a little bit here. I'm feeling a little hot, but man, I had a great time going to St. Louis, Missouri with you. Backlash was incredible. The show was great. The trip was fun. The food was amazing. The arch was cool. St. Louis, man. St. Louis, it's got a little vibe to it. But before we go, is there anything else that you want to get off your chest, off your Hoosier Dome, or simply just plug your social medias and we call it an episode?
Well, I got to tell you, I really like that Benjamin Shelton Jack.
Oh God!
I'm sorry, I had to do it. I had to throw that in there. You can follow me on
Benjamin
TikTok
Shelton
at Stone Payne Productions and on X at Stone Payne Prod.
Oh my goodness. Yes, everybody follow Stone Payne Productions on TikTok. We are trying to get Payton to 10,000 followers as well as myself. So please do me a favor and follow WellsMania on TikTok. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook if you want. I don't really care. But TikTok is where it's at, man. Trying really hard for both of us to get to 10K. I want to go viral this week. Payton, have you seen this trend on TikTok?
I have, and I'm not falling for it.
I've jumped on it, and I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't gone viral yet, but I have gained a lot of new followers. It's kind of cool to see how the algorithm works. But man, I had a great time with you in Backlash. We'll talk about Saturday night's main event next week. Is that right? Are we doing our yes? So next episode of WellsMania Podcast, we will dive into Saturday night's main event. You're going back to Florida, aren't you?
Yes, I will be flying into Tampa, not the day of Saturday night's main event, the day after. So maybe, just maybe, I'll buy a surprise ticket to NXT Battleground. I don't know. We'll have to see.
That remains to be seen. Well, Payton, thank you again for running wild with WellsMania. Be sure to subscribe and follow the WellsMania Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Thank you all so much. And until next episode, take care, stay positive, run wild, and dominate the day.